Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi again. Sorry about that interruption there. So I was saying that we have these 7 sessions, inshallah, between now till the end of Ramadan, beginning of Ramadan, and we'll focus on understanding Quran and also work on building a Quranic Arabic vocabulary. So as some of you are new joining us for the first time, for those who want to join, you will find the link to register in the video description. Let me bring in a slide deck that we have just to give you an overview of how the program is organized, inshallah. So let's share the screen here. All right, so what we have here, if we go here, inshallah, and this is all linked from the description. Okay, this is covering. All right, here. So the purpose of this is to strengthen, first and foremost, is to teach you how to strengthen the relationship with Quran itself. And as we do the reflections, you will have a better understanding of how to do that, and we'll share some examples in a second. Let's move this out of the view. Okay, and we will open this up as well. Okay, good. So I have this here. Alhamdulillah. All right, so that's the key objective. The second objective, inshallah, is to be able to understand Quran directly in the Arabic language. So we'll share with you some techniques, and we'll have a very direct approach, because there are many different approaches to understanding the Quran. Some take a very long route in terms of the grammar and what have you, which is very valuable. But as they say, like, bringing a knife to a kitchen fight, right? Or a sword to a kitchen fight. So that's something, sometimes it's too much to do, right? And it takes a long time and people don't see results and they get demotivated. So in terms of the reflections, the goal is that whenever you're reading Quran, you're approaching it for the sake of reflection. This is a different way. We're not approaching Quran for, ahkam, that what is halal, what is haram, and so on and so forth. We are approaching it from a reflection perspective. And so the questions that you can be asking yourself is, what does this tell me about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What kind of people and what kind of qualities is the verse talking about? And where do I stand? What is my identity? What are my habits? What are my actions in terms of those qualities? And what are the qualities that Allah loves? Is it reminding me to focus on something else? Is there a promise of Allah in this verse? What does it teach me about having a powerful mindset? Or in other words, you can think of it, how would I take the information that's given to me in this verse and use it to advise and give nasiha to a friend who may be going through different circumstances in life? So that's the one thing, right? We are not using it to drive rules, because that can be really a dangerous approach, inshallah. Okay, so this is my contact information if you need to contact me for anything, suggestions, comments, concerns. And this is a good book set for people to have in their homes if they don't already have it. It's a very good investment. Buy a set of 3 volumes, and then you have a whole Quran, inshallah, with word by word that you can use for your reading and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are the links that are in the group description. Okay. So now if you wanted to take it to the next level, here are some of the things that you can do. If you look at the playlist, we have introduced an app that you can use for word by word. On the screen, we'll be using a website called corpus.quran.com. Again, all the links are in the video description. So either or can be used, but what I would recommend is to take 1 word or 2 words a day and really get to know them. The way you would do that, and this is something we'll talk about the next half of the class, in which we focus on Quranic Arabic and vocabulary and grammar as well. But so inshallah, we'll talk about it then. I think we'll just pause here for now and go into the reflection mode. We are on Suratul AlHaaqqah, and we are on verse number 49. Okay, so before we begin, any questions about that, you can raise your hand or put it in the chat, inshallah. Any questions about the reflection? If you have questions about the grammar part, wait for it. Once we finish the reflection, then we'll start focusing on the grammar and the vocabulary. Okay, so I don't see any hands raised. I don't see anything in the chat. So I'm going to go ahead and start with our reflections component of verse number 48, which you see on the screen here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإنه لتذكرة للمتقين وإنا لنعلم أن منكم مكذبين وإنه لحسرة على الكافرين وإنه لحق اليقين فسبح باسم ربك العظيم. Okay, so we have a few things that we need to talk about here that we'll be going through inshallah together. So from this, first of all, what is it talking about? So if you look at it, you know, and inshallah, let's try to communicate via the chat box. I'd like to see your participation, inshallah. So the next few verses that we are looking at in today's session are all talking about Quran. Okay, so what it should do, well, it's a continuation. It's not a first halaqah. It's a series that has been going on. However, it's something designed in a way that anyone can join at any time. So as we have a lot of new students, we'll be going over a lot of basics, but it's still a first one in the session, inshallah. So that's why I'm not expecting anything that you're already bringing to the table. I'm really starting from the basics. However, the verses number, we are continuing on where we stopped in our last series. So what these verses are talking about is first and foremost about the Kitab al-Quran. So it's a motivation for myself, for other people on how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala views Quran and how should we view Quran. What is the relationship of Quran? What is the importance of Quran in my life? What kind of habits do I have around the Quran? So all of us have different habits when it comes to content consumption. Sometimes we are on YouTube, on Netflix, different shows, different series, Instagram, this, that. But what is our relationship with Quran? How much time am I giving to Quran in terms of reading, understanding, and implementing? So what Allah is saying that as for the people who are al-muttaqeen, the people who are God conscious, they have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then they take it as definitely a reminder. Okay, so that's one of the qualities that Allah has mentioned for the people of taqwa. And as you may know that there are different verses in Quran that actually really emphasizes the importance of people of taqwa and how they are the beloved of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how Allah supports them, how Allah loves them, how Allah aids them. So if we want to be from that, then one of the qualities that we should have is to take the Quran as a tadhkirah. Right? How would we do that? By reading it, by understanding it, by implementing it in our lives. The next thing it talks about is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is comforting us, anyone who is in the business of da'wah, in the works of da'wah, whether it be actively or passively, whether we have family members who may be denying the religion of Islam, or maybe turning away from it, or maybe not as much excited about it, that we are dealing with. So Allah is telling us, comforting us that, look, I know that there are people among you who deny it. Okay, so Allah is aware of them. And what will happen to these people, that the kafirin, it will become a source of regret. So there will be a time that they will wish that they had followed it. So this is also a reminder for those who may be turning away from Quran, not taking it seriously, that there's going to be a day when it will be a big regret for them. So let's avoid that. And then Allah mentions it again, that what is this Quran? It's a haqqul yaqeen. And this is a really important topic here, right? In verse number 51. We have taken different things to be the source of truth. So if someone comes today and say, you know what, there's a research by Cambridge University or Harvard University or University of Toronto or MIT that science says that if you eat this or if you walk 10 minutes a day, then it's really, really good for your health. It reduces the heart attack chances by 40% by 10 minutes walk. So we have high confidence in, statements like these, even without understanding what this means, what are the caveats about the research. However, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if you do this, I'll be with you. If you do this, I'll give you this. If you have tawakkul on me, I will provide for you. Where is the confidence? So for the believers, it is haqqul yaqeen. They are 100% confident in this, way more than any scientific journal, any peer-reviewed journal. So that's something to think about. Like, what is my attitude when a promise is mentioned in Quran compared to when a scientific journal is quoted to me? Yes, this is Surah AlHaaqqah, verse number 51 right now. Okay. So this is something for us to think about. And then lastly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us an action item, which is to have the tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the name of, so it says, فَسَبِّحْ بِاسْمِ رَبِّكَ الْعَظِيمِ. So here, if you remember that when we said, okay, look at what does it tell us about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the word tasbih, can anyone point out what is the difference between tasbih and hamd? So this is something we covered earlier, but as I said, we're not taking anything for granted. We are assuming that most of the people are new in this last 7 sessions, inshallah. So what is tasbih? Think about it. When we are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, even if you look at the kalima shahada, we say la ilaha. So we first negate, we first, take our hands off to saying that there is no deity worthy of worship. So we negate any sort of imperfection, and then we declare that Allah is the only one deserving of worship. So similarly, tasbih, the word tasbih is to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which means to declare that Allah is free from any deficiency and any imperfection. And when we are using the hamd, we are actually praising the positive attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So tasbih is the negation of negative attributes or imperfection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hamd is the mentioning of the positive attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's a interesting thing to be aware of. The next thing is the word Rabb. Okay, and that's something we have talked about earlier, but let's repeat it. What is included in the word Rabb, or in the name or attribute Rabb? So yes, in English we translate it as Lord, but there's a very interesting thing. First and foremost, it has the attribute of creation. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of everything that exists. And I mean everything. So think about this: the human beings, the mountains, the oceans, the earth, the planets, the sun, the moon, our eyes, our hands, our ears, our feet, everything is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The brilliant ideas are also the creation of Allah. The emotions are also the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, the technological advancement, AirPods, cars, smart cars, aircrafts, all are creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even though, we may say, okay, well, he's our direct creator, but he is the creator of the human beings. He is the creator of the ideas. He is the creator of the raw materials. So all the creation belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you and I are chasing any creation of Allah, whether it be wealth, power, strength, health, good emotions, relations, it is a smart thing to do to worship and please the creator of the thing that we are chasing, rather than disobeying the creator and try to chase what we are chasing. The second thing, so first thing, Rabb includes creator. The second attribute that Rabb includes is the owner. So from a worldly perspective, we can swipe a card, we can tap our card, and we can exchange, and we can buy something, and we become the worldly owner of that product. However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues to be the owner. So sometimes we may think, oh, it's my life, it's my body, I can do whatever I want. No, Allah is the owner. He has trusted you with it. He's testing you. How will you use what He has given you? How will you use the wealth that He has given you, which is owned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then lastly, the word Rabb includes that He is the arranger of all affairs. That means that nothing can happen, nothing can harm or benefit any of its creation except by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So look at this, how amazing, how azim, and how a'la is our Rabb. That He is the creator, He is the owner, and He's completely in charge. And then the last thing is that He is the most great. So, knowing this thing, if we have this consciousness in our mind that Allah is Rabb and He is Al-Azim, how can we disobey Him? How can we prioritize other lowly human being or friends or culture or our own desires above and beyond the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So these are some of the reflections that I had, but I would really like you guys to, inshallah, share your reflections, right? And when we are sharing reflections, let's make it actionable. Let's make I should, for example, Quran is the tazkirah for al-muttaqin. I want to be from the muttaqin, so I should take it as a reminder. I should look at my habits and connection with Quran. So that would be one action point. I would really like if every one of you can drop one actionable item that we can take away from these verses, or any other point of either actions, habits, mindset, something that you can inshallah share. And by doing that, you will enable yourself to have a better relationship with Quran, better learning of Quran, and also you will help yourself positively in terms of reminding yourself by sharing your reminder with other people. So perhaps some of you can raise your hand and you can speak up. The rest of you can also put it in the chat, inshallah. Let's go, Bismillah. Oh, I might start taking names and say, hey, what's your lesson? What did you learn from it? So hopefully everyone can comment. You can rephrase what I said. You can come up with your own thing. As we said, it's not a tafsir. It's us mentioning what we are reminded of when we look at these verses. Right, no one? Okay, well, everybody seems to be very shy. And by the way, turn on your cameras if you can. If you're not in a situation where you cannot, highly encourage to actually think that you're a part of the class. Just like in the class, you will be visible. Try to turn on your cameras if you can. And yeah, let's participate, inshallah. That's going to give you the most benefit, inshallah. Allah's creation more, such as taking walks in nature. Yes, that's another thing, right? So sometimes so there's one thing, exposing yourself to nature, and the other thing is to connect the nature to the creator. Because sometimes we do, see and appreciate nature and the beauty of the nature, but many times we forget to connect it with the creator. So that's really important to not neglect that, and to realize that this has been created. This thing that I'm enjoying is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He is the one who has given me the ability to enjoy it. Because let's say if you're enjoying by looking at it, who gave you the eyes, right? If you are enjoying it by having the free time to have a walk, Allah gave us those things. Not everybody has those benefits available to them. Okay, interesting, right? So linking the Quran to character and relationship with Rabb. All right, Jazakumullah khairan. Okay, so if anybody would like to speak up or share, do that. We'll just take a minute, and then now we'll switch into the other part of the session, which is to help develop the Quranic Arabic. So we'll share some grammar principles and also the verb, and we'll showcase how we do it and what's our philosophy to that approach, inshallah. So last chance, any questions or reflections, please put in the chat or raise your hand. If not, then we'll switch into the grammar part. Going once, twice, and thrice. Okay, so let me just turn off this recording, and then we'll start another one for the grammar, inshallah. So we can also upload it separately.